Let's begin now.
Hello, everyone. It is Thursday, April 23rd, 2020. This is enough to keep going. Joe Burrow has just been drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals. Chase Young has been picked up by the Washington Redskins, and the Detroit Lions are on the clock. So many questions tonight. Is Prime going to have to suffer through another season with Mitchell Trubisky at quarterback? Are the Packers going to underperform? And what's going to become of my beloved New England Patriots now that Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski have headed down to Tampa Bay? So many questions.
Sound like all the appropriate questions.
Yeah, so many questions, and we're not going to address any of them because this is the GX show, and we're going to talk video games.
Hey, welcome to Enough to Keep Going Sportscast.
Yeah. But I do have the NFL Draft Tracker open in another tab right now. Just we'll keep an eye on it. Yep, tonight we get to talk about what we've been playing. Every other week we do game chat, and then the following week we do news. This week I am joined by two of my good friends, Osiris Prime. How are you?
I am well and tired.
DBQ Hams is also... DB wasn't actually on the schedule, but he is so excited to talk about mini motor racing for the PS4. He just had to come on the show with us.
I am actually. We'll talk about that later on, but really I just wanted to live cast the draft at the same time. So I'm glad that you have it up and we can commiserate about this together.
Yep, I'm SwissGuard, and I guess we'll get started. So we always start our GX show with the Picks Plays report out. So 2 weeks ago, we all get an assignment. Our last assignment was, given that we're all kind of self-isolating with the health situation that it is, I think Agasicles wrote this. It says, "But do you have friends?" Which is a very good question for, middle-aged men that are, playing a lot of video games. But it says, reach out to them. E2KG members will count. And ask them to play a game. So play something with your buddies. We'll start with how about we start with DB? What did you pick and who'd you play with?
Well, I think my selection here is actually very appropriate given that we're talking about draft day selections. So I played some sports games with a high school friend. He and I played football together back in high school. So we played some Madden, and we also played some NBA 2K. So we've been kind of picking away at Madden on and off, choosing different teams. We did San Diego Chargers and the Colts as a matchup for some Phillip Rivers now and then. We've done, trying to do some different picks. We're going to start a franchise next week after the draft because you can do some user rosters. So on Operation Sports and a number of other users create a number of rosters, and they've been kind of doing active rosters during free agency, but they're also do rosters after the draft here. So you can pick up whoever, whether it's the Detroit Lions who just picked up a cornerback, or if it's somebody else who's going to pick up a new quarterback. But so we played that. We also played another timely one with the ESPN's Last Dance documentary. We've been playing some NBA 2K and going back through. Neither he or I are incredibly good at 2K, so it's been an interesting and a low-scoring game. It feels like we're playing middle school basketball, as we're hoping to break over 50 points over the course of a game.
So are you playing versus, or are you kind of
Yeah,
together?
we're playing head-to-head. Yep.
Okay.
So he's on one team, I'm on the other. Same thing with Madden is that we're playing head to head. In Madden, it does competitive mode when you're playing online. So in Madden, you can do an arcade mode, which is big hits and easy catches. You can do a simulation mode where it's a little more realistic, and then there's competitive, which is actually it's a whole different setting in there as well. That it's a lot more about kind of the making sure you're getting the button pressing down in terms of getting your catches. There's a little bit more nuance there, so it's even a little different play style than simulation, because when he and I have played individually within our own franchises, we play on simulation. So then playing competitive also means that it means like let's say the game this week when I threw 4 interceptions, but still won because he was the Baltimore Ravens and was running with Jackson as his quarterback. And in the last minute of the game, I hit his quarterback and he fumbled, and I picked it up and ran it back in for a touchdown and the winning score. So
this is Madden 20. So were Jackson's ratings like pre-MVP ratings?
well, they have done updates throughout, but yeah, his rating. I mean, it almost feels like watching him. The combination of like bad or laggy network and a really fast quarterback means that he's like 2004 Michael Vick type of speed. So he really just had the capacity to score on me at any point in time, because if I dropped back and covered the receivers, he'd just roll out and keep running, and if I tried to blitz him, he could hit a receiver deep. So yes, so Travaris Jackson is incredibly fast within Madden as well. Yeah, so that's been kind of fun to, a lot of times it's no different than like if we were playing, we've talked about this with Destiny as well. Like it's no different than playing darts or pool with some friends at your local pub. You're doing something while you're having other conversations, and every once in a while you have to stop and focus on the actual game that you're playing, but it provides a good opportunity to reconnect with some friends as well. So yeah, so it's been fun to go back playing NBA 2K. We're playing like 90s teams because neither one of us follow the NBA too closely. So it allowed us to go back into the 90s teams, late 80s, 90s teams, and we knew the bench a whole lot to a lot more depth than any type of modern day. So it was kind of fun, to go back and do some franchises in the 90s, relive some of those NBA playoffs runs as well. So it was good. It was good to get back and play something and to get schooled and beat by an old friend as well. So that's okay.
That's good. I guess I'll go next. So I played Scythe, which is the digital edition of a board game, and there are a couple of fellows that go to my church, and they, they're not gamers. So literally, I kind of said, "Hey, Scythe's on sale on Steam. We've played it a few times together tabletop, which is why I reached out to them. And given that we're not really getting together to play tabletop right now, they thought it was a good idea to try to play digitally. They actually had to install the Steam client, so I've kind of walked them through that. One
How
of
did that
them
go,
plays.
by the way, as a
I'm sorry?
non-gamer? How the install and the setup for Steam, how was that intuitive for somebody, or did you feel like it was a little more cumbersome than expected?
They seem to get it. They didn't really ask me too many questions. I said, "Hey, just you'll register, you'll download the game," and they seem to handle it okay. I did kind of walk them through a little bit, setting up friend things, but they picked that up. The hardest part for me with the Steam interface was getting into the Scythe client and then making sure that, like, they would log into the game, but then it's like, no, we gotta pop back out to the Steam overlay so that we can set up a voice channel. So the few times we played, actually multiple times now, but those few things, it's always a little bit tricky. Okay, remember you gotta go over here and click join the chat room, and then they get in. But they've had fun. One of them, one of my friends plays World of Warcraft Classic with his brother, but that's like his one game. But no, they embraced it. I've seen them playing it uh, without us. Like when I'm doing other things, I can tell that they're on. So it makes me feel good that they didn't, waste their money and they're enjoying it. As far as the game, I mean, it was fun. It's fun to be able to play with them, because like I said, once a month or once every other month we get together and play tabletop. So it's nice to be able to get with them. Having played the game before, and you two guys remember we played at the beginning of February, I think. You guys were learning it for the first time. It was definitely much faster with all of us since we knew how the game works.
I mean, you didn't have to hold our hands the whole time and explain to us.
Well, I'll get to that again.
Questions.
I'll get to that in a moment. There was a little bit our first match when they were getting the hang of the interface, and they're like, "Oh crap, I confirm this. If you're playing tabletop, it's like, oh wait, I don't want to do that. You can. That's cool. We're all together on the table. You can't do that in the digital version of the game. So after we got that like hurdle, and everybody kind of made a mistake, it was fine. It goes pretty quickly. I will say, playing against you two guys was a lot easier than playing against those two guys, and I hate losing.
That's understandable. Yeah.
He's gonna set up another match with us soon.
I think I've won one match out of 5 or 6 that we played, which is kind of frustrating me now. I'm starting to get self-conscious, but it's good.
Did you guys put the AI in there too, or just the 3 of you? Or
no, it's just the 3 of us. It's just the 3 of us. I've played one time with like random people on the internet, and it was a 5-player match, and that's like the most I've ever had. And the game's very different because there's a lot less room to maneuver. And so yeah, that was also a humbling experience. So, but as far as like the strategy game, it's a fun game. You're presented with so many options of how you can tackle having an efficient economy. It's kind of addicting in that aspect. It's like, man, I could just be, if I could have done this differently last time, I could have jumped out ahead. So, but I'm glad I got some guys that aren't necessarily gamers into Steam, and one fellow who, DB, I think you would like because he's an English professor. I just saw that he bought Age of Empires Definitive Edition, so he's even starting to look at other games on the platform. Nice. So I'm gonna have to reach out to him and see if we can play some Age of Empires too. But
that's fun. I'm glad that you kind of were the gateway drug to get him back in and get him engaged.
You're the dealer.
Yeah, we all have young kids, so none of us have a lot of time, but it was good. Last but certainly not least, Osiris Prime.
Yeah, so I got a question for actually for both. Well, kind of a question, I guess, for both of you. Now, Swiss, you had mentioned that you kind of had to walk these, the two guys through, kind of everything. DB, was your friend still a gamer, or was he still? I don't know if you mentioned that at the beginning. I don't know if I missed that. But was he still playing games regularly, or
he's got an Xbox One. We have played Madden on and off over, the last 4 years or so. I think the last time we played was sometime this fall. So It's not a frequent. Yeah, he'll get on every once in a while. But no, it was, we've set up some gaming nights on Monday nights for the last month or so, and that's been the first kind of regular play that he's had in a while as well. So yeah, younger kids and kind of getting back into games as well.
That's cool. So my game is a little different. So I didn't have any direct contact with the friends that I was playing with. Animal Crossing, that's the game I was playing with. But we, so in Animal Crossing, you can visit each other's islands, and you can do certain things. It depends if you're friends.
Is this your Discord turnip dealer that you're gonna?
No, this is it's the Discord server, the other Discord server that I've mentioned before. That a lot of people actually started that one with Fortnite that we played a lot, and now we've kind of gone over to Animal Crossing, kind of oddly enough, which is two different styles of games, but there's different people actually that play a lot of different games on there too. So, but we do gather around, and we try to do the turn up thing, and I've actually kind of gone beyond them in a way with the turn up, because there's a website out there that you can actually go to now and find the best deals. Kind of like an app like Spot Hero or something like that. It's kind of the same deal where you search out the best deal, and you kind of go to those islands. But I still we'll on the Discord server we'll still go onto each other's islands for if we need. Some people still do the turn up thing, but if we need certain furniture or clothing or anything like that, or if we just want to visit and shop, because you have to spend so much before you upgrade your different shops. So it's kind of nice to go on somebody's island, start spending your money on somewhere else. So so we were doing that, and usually sometimes they'll get on the Discord audio actually and talk. I didn't have a chance to do that, but I was just chatting with them through the interface. So that's kind of nice. It was kind of cool, and just kind of nice to be able to do that kind of thing. Some people actually set up in the world where you can. So you get the different recipes for different things you can do. They'll have like a little spot where you're like, hey, you could take 1 or 2 or whatever you want, and just take it if you don't have it. Or the one person set up like a dig site where you can dig up 1 or 2 things, and it's like a surprise. So it's kind of cool. It's kind of nice to. It's different. It's definitely different than doing like a Fortnite or Call of Duty or anything like that. So it's a different experience, but it's really cool, and I've been enjoying it. I'm still playing it. I'm like those people on that I'm playing with, they're like light years, ahead of me. So I'm basically trying to play catch up right now and just trying to get different shops and stuff like that, and just different things. So
do you still have your like million bells, or?
Yeah, actually I made, I think almost 3 million this week. So I paid off, my house is paid off totally. So I don't have to worry about that anymore. So which is nice. And still got like 1 million left over. So, which is good, because if you want to try to like move houses or stores or whatever, that costs money, which I haven't seen how much that costs yet. But just when I was trying to do like a simple little like hill on one of the mountains there, or hills, or like cliffs there, it's like almost 100,000 just to do that. I was like, oh man, it's a good thing I'm doing this, because it takes a lot of money.
Are you at the point now where you're like terraforming and paying for your landscape?
I can pay for the landscaping and like moving stuff, buildings, but I don't have the terraforming ability yet. I think you have to. There's like a thing where you have like you have to have full villagers or neighbors, whatever they call them, and then you have like KK Slider come in, and then I think after that you get the terraformer. So.
Yeah, once KK Slider comes, you get credits, and then I think that's something you unlock. Yep.
Yeah, so I'm close to that. I think I have the 10th person coming in, or I have a spot for the 10th person, because you have to like set up a spot for him. So I'm doing that now. So hopefully I'll get that soon, and then I can start like really like molding my island how I want it. So it's fun though. It's it's nice and relaxing. I'm not. I guess the only thing I have to worry about is the turn up stuff. So, but even that I really don't have to anymore, because I've already paid off the house, and so, well, at least for now, because who knows, if they do an update or whatever. They just actually released an update with a bunch of different stuff for Earth Day, and few things down the road too, Museum Day and stuff like that. So it's kind of cool. So it's kind of fun, going back and forth, even if we're not, in each other's islands. We're talking like constantly, pretty much throughout the day. So it's really nice. It's cool. And it's something that's kind of nice, like even because I'm still working, I still work, Monday through Friday, like a full day, and I can just set it to open, and people can come and go as they like. So it's kind of cool, and other people do that too. So it's nice.
You're almost making me reconsider my decision to pass on the game.
Well, have you played other ones? The other iterations?
I mean, so most of what you guys are saying, like, it's kind of a foreign language to me. But you seem enthusiastic about it. You're a good ambassador for Animal Crossing New Horizons.
Yeah, I mean, it reminds me a lot of like when I first started playing Minecraft. Like I was like kind of like, I was like, oh, I don't know about this kind of game, But then once I got into it, I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of cool. It's just something to chill with, and eventually I think I'll get my wife into it. 'Cause she's actually played past games before, so I think she played the 3DS. She might have even played what was it? Was it GameCube or when it first came out, or six? I think it was GameCube, I believe. I didn't play that. I didn't play the very first one, so I'm not sure which one that system that was on. But played all the other
Yeah, I
ones.
could see your kids getting into it, Swiss.
Yeah, that was one consideration too. It doesn't sound like the whole island restriction has bothered anybody, really.
No, yeah, that's the only thing. It's just the one island, but yeah, I mean it's a pretty big island, so you can. I think
Yeah.
you'd have more than enough space.
I mean, and I think for a family, it actually works out. Like, because my son could tell me, "Oh, well, I need X number of bells in order to make this next bridge," and I could go in and help him pay it off or drop some resources for him outside of his house. So it's not, it doesn't really work. There's not a whole lot of in-game stuff that helps you communicate that, but if you're all living in the same under the same roof, it makes it relatively easy to have a conversation outside of the game about kind of helping progress the narrative forward.
Yeah, it depends too, because my son has his own, and if she played it on his, I don't think he would ever get into it. It just doesn't seem his style of game. I know he's tried to play other types of games like Stardew Valley, and there's another one I can't remember the name right now, but he didn't really get into it. So I mean, she could always do that too. Or if we're on one island, it's a lot easier just to drop the tools that she'll need right away. So she doesn't have to scrap and shake trees to get resources. So it'd be kind of nice.
I'm gonna say that profile contention is a problem in my house sometimes, but it can be a good thing or a bad thing. Like, it's a good thing if like I come in and my Zelda, like, okay, Link's not where I left him last, but somebody created a bunch of food in my account or whatever. It's a bad thing, my wife has gone in and there's like 15 dubious food and she has no arrows left. So but sounds like that'll work. So
yeah. So actually, if I can bridge the gap here a little too, because since I had not too much that I was playing this week, it's kind of bleeding over into the rundown for our GX show here. I have noticed a few things, and I don't know if it's just because maybe it's just like that vocal minority, but there seems to be some problems, like game corruptions, and this was even before this last update came out. I saw a few reports and stuff that people were having issues with different things. So I don't know, like I said, if it's just the kind of the sign of the times, because obviously back in the day we didn't have the internet really too much, at least not as widely as accessible as it is now. I mean, we just didn't hear about it as often, but it just seems like there's a lot of problems with this game. I haven't seen anything myself, and maybe just because I'm the gamer guy, so I'm always looking at news and stuff. So maybe I'll see it a little bit quicker than the most people will, or hear about it. So I kind of just like stay away from stuff if things are going wrong. It's like, hey, if you do this, this was going to happen. So I'm like, all right, I'm just going to stay away from that for now. But it just seems like there's a lot more problems that I've seen with other Nintendo games in general. But I don't know if that's the case or not.
Does there seem to be? I haven't heard this. Does there seem to be a trace for the corruption? Like, was it after the system update 10 that this happened, or is it something related to shared profiles or friend codes? I mean, it seems like it's rare for this to happen on a Nintendo platform.
Yeah, so for this one, I'm not sure about earlier back in when it first came out, but this one is actually with the new items, which are bushes, because they didn't have bushes before, oddly enough. I guess like when you plant a bunch of them or like too many different kinds, and then you start digging them back up, I guess that can corrupt your save somehow. So
and the bushes are new as of just this week, right? I mean, that was one of the new updates.
Yeah, that just came out today. Well, technically, I think today. Actually, you were able to download it last night, but it just came out, where everything kind of was opened up for you today. So yeah, so I don't know. I did a little bit of research when I saw that, and I couldn't really find. I saw a couple articles, not on any well-known sites, but so I don't know. I'd have to dig a little further to see if it's actually more widespread problem than I've seen. So, but just kind of, I just thought it was kind of weird, just because of it's a Nintendo. Obviously, they were always like pounding quality, or quality, and obviously this was delayed once. I think just once, I believe, a few months. So I don't know.
I will say though that it's as far as Nintendo IPs go, this is a very different like structure of a game.
Yeah.
Um, so definitely some different elements than they're used to using.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously there's, you know, you can change the world, and much like Minecraft, you know, people are always like, oh, Minecraft, what, you know, it's all blocky. Why is this, you know, such a big deal? But you know, when you get back into it, I mean, you can just like totally destroy the world and recreate it. So it's, you know, that's a lot going on behind the scenes there. And it's a little bit of that too here. So you know, obviously you can do terraforming and, you know, plant things and move things around. So I'm sure stuff happens.
Right. Any other thoughts on Animal Crossing before we kind of really get into the rundown in earnest?
Nope. Do you didn't get to pick it up anymore, or was it just a rental?
Animal Crossing? No, we have it.
Oh, you bought it. Okay.
Yep, my sons have both played it. I started with one son, and now my second son has picked it up and started playing as well. I haven't been back to clean up some weeds lately, but yeah, no, we've been playing other stuff as a family, but it's definitely still on our list. Yeah, we haven't had any, truthfully, Bunny Day and all the eggs kind of. I got burned out on that, so now that that's done, yeah. I'm ready to go back and play a little bit now that I'm not going to dig up just eggs. So
yeah, the Earth Day stuff seems to be pretty straightforward. You're just buying stuff from the dude, Leaf, or selling stuff. Weeds, I said, by the way.
All right. On that note, we'll move on. Okay. DB, we mentioned this at the top of the show. Mini motor racing. Have you been playing? Was that one of the family games you've been playing?
Yeah, this is one of mini motor racing. Actually, it's from Binary Mill. It started off as an iOS and Android game. I played it. It's probably 2012. It's been quite a while now at this point. It's been out on Android and iOS for a long time, and then it came out for PlayStation 4 in December. It is it's in that same vein of like Super Sprint or Super Off-Road Racing, right? It's that top-down aspect where you're always kind of oversteering in order to cycle back around and make your curves. I'm making the sign of spinning the wheel on Super Off-Road Racing, right?
I apologize. I should have been narrating for the.
No, that's right. Thank you. Yes,
audio
for the audio. Yes, for the visually impaired, I am spinning my hand around, pretending like I am driving a steering wheel that spins around constantly.
A la Karate Kid.
That's right. Wax on, wax off. Yes, a lot of that. Super Off-Road Racing. I have, I have begged and pleaded many an allowance when I was a kid to get some extra coins to power that up. Lots of playing those types of games. And so when this came out on PS4, I was kind of excited because I really enjoyed it on Android. And it was waiting for a sale. And now in the April sale, it's up for $20. So it has both the kind of multiplayer aspect. You can play single player, you can play multiplayer. And it also has a PSVR setting as well. So you can go in and in PSVR, you can play either like behind the wheel and have that mode and that visual, or you can have the visual of almost like an RC car that you've got. It actually brings up like a little remote control, and you're visually moving the wheel back and forth on an overlay in the 3D world with your VR. And so it's pretty fun that way with the VR. The VR actually works really nicely. The behind the wheel stuff is pretty quick. One of the things that I enjoy about these games, and one of the reasons I like the Super Sprint, Super Off-Road aspect, is you see the entire track. So doing it in VR and being able to see the whole track feels kind of genuine to those classic games. When I'm playing on flats, when I'm playing in just regular PS4 or I'm playing in multiplayer, you're not seeing the entire screen. You're seeing kind of a pulled out a little bit. If when my son and I are playing, if we're in different parts of the track, it'll pull out. Otherwise, it'll zoom in, and then you're only seeing maybe like the next curve. And so the challenge in a game like this is when you don't know the track and you can't see the whole track is knowing when to start cornering or how to turn out of the track or what line to take. That's like any racing game, right? Is the challenge is figuring out how to take that right line in order to minimize the amount of slowdown or the amount of bump coming into any track. But this does have some of the same type of super off-road aspects where it has, you can get nitros and do a nitro boost to give you a little bit of boost through the track. This also has like an extreme mode where you can get like wrenches to throw out or a shield or multiple, so there's almost like a little Mario Kart aspect there. It's been pretty fun to play multiplayer. I wish that it did pull out the screen a little bit because it puts us, it's fine, but we also bounced off of it in multiplayer a little bit more than I bounced off of it playing it in single player because of the difficulty of the screen kind of zooming in and out constantly and not having that static. It did just come out with an update the last couple of weeks or so, which tweaked some performance pieces, added a few camera modes within the VR aspect, but it did not kind of add a total kind of pull out mode in multiplayer, where if you could pull it out and have the entire screen, I could see where that would be a little better. But so Minimoto it's actually a lot of fun. It's pretty accessible. There's a lot that you can tweak. You can unlock more cars as you go. But it's not very forgiving, I think, is my hesitation here is, right, for what looks like kind of a fun kid accessible type of racing game. It has a high skill ceiling in here. And so, even playing solo, I was feeling lucky if I could get a third place, maybe a second place. It wasn't until my second, third, fourth time through a track when I was getting a first place. So there's really it does require you to know your lines, know your tracks. But I think that is, as a game, that probably makes it it gives it a little more longevity, because it's not just simply like a Mario Kart 8 where your first time through the track, you're going to unlock everything and you're moving on. And, the only real reason to play it is to play it together. So there's some single player longevity in it as well.
So you mentioned that you had it on Android. I was a little surprised, to be honest, when you said it was on sale for $20, because if the lineage is mobile, that's like a steep price for a mobile game. And I apologize if you mentioned, does the PS4 version have additional tracks, or is it just like a remake, or how does that compare?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think I don't know that it has additional tracks. The mobile game has a ton of tracks in it. The difference, it's $30 regularly. I mean, so this is where I didn't buy it right away, even though I really like the developer and I've enjoyed the game. I was waiting for a sale because I agree with you. Like, $30 feels kind of steep for what is a mobile game. I think that the difference is that the mobile game is flat. This has a lot of depth to it. There's a lot of physics in here. It's running a totally different engine than what it looked like and felt like on the mobile game. That there's a lot more nuance to the physics than in the mobile game. And truthfully, it's got some really neat VR modes in it as well. And so that, I think, is a nice value add above and beyond what you're going to get in the mobile game.
Yeah, it actually, I've been kind of scanning through some of the the advertisements and whatnot on the PlayStation Store with it, and it looks like a nice, like you said, polished game. I mean, it's a very cheerful looking game, but it looks pretty cool. And like, I saw what you mean. Like, if you go to the website, you can see what he's referring to in the VR mode. Like, you get your virtual reality hand and RC car controller. That's kind of neat.
Yeah, and the VR mode is fun as well, like being behind the wheel. There's a lot of kind of realistic racers in PSVR in terms of like Gran Turismo or Dirt. But this has kind of an arcadey feel for PSVR as well. So it's an easy suggestion. I think at $20 it's not a bad pickup. I think if it drops even lower, it's a great kind of family play. It's pretty accessible for kids, and because of the nature of the different modes and viewpoints, that it becomes, you can kind of make it the type of racing game that you want. Where if you want it to be kind of a kart racer, you can. If you want it to be a over the steering wheel type of a little more in depth, or if you want kind of that classic super off-road super sprint, you can have that as well.
All right. I'm kind of looking forward to hearing the report out of this next game. I'm gonna jump back to Prime because like most of the games I have are things that I've played in the past, and we'll see if we get to them. But Just Dance 2020.
Oh yeah. So we had fired up the old Switch there the other day. Me and my son were gonna pop. I think we are gonna pop into Fortnite probably, and we saw that Just Dance was up there. I think there was just like a promotion for it. It was on sale for $20, so pretty cheap. So we bought it. We've been playing it. We've been playing it the last couple of weeks actually. It's been pretty fun actually, to be honest with you. It's definitely a workout. Definitely tired after even just one song, depending on what the song is. But I've been having a lot of fun. We, like I said, me, my son, and my wife have all been playing this, kind of going back and forth. Sometimes you can, actually, I think all the songs you can do together, at least with two people, maybe even more. Our living room's not so big, so we have so it's only usually about two of us at a time. But yeah, it's been pretty fun, just kind of doing these different songs, and a lot of the songs I've at least heard of, if not, I've listened to before. But there's a whole bunch of songs I've just like, I have no idea what this is, and just songs from other countries and stuff like that too. So it's kind of cool just to see different music in there, and just songs I wouldn't think would be in there, like some of the rock songs that are in there, kind of older ones too, though, so classic rock. So yeah, it's just weird how they do a routine, through the whole song. So I wanted to throw that one in there.
What's your favorite song that you did in the game?
Favorite song? Well, there's a bunch of Queen songs in, so those are probably my favorite songs just to kind of listen to. And I don't know if those are really like dancing songs. I suppose I guess they kind of just threw them in there. But they have the old good Psy Gangnam Style, so that's a pretty fun one. So catchy.
All right. I can't fault you on the Queen. So.
That's all right.
So does it still just use a one Joy-Con? Because I remember we played a lot of this on the Wii and the Wii U as a family, and you could play up to 4 players with everybody having a Wiimote. Is it a single Joy-Con here, or do you have 2 of them? Are there different modes for this?
No, just the one Joy-Con still. There are a couple other modes that are in there, but I'm not really sure what they are yet because we haven't really done them. Other than just like you can do like an online one where you're dancing with people like from all over the country and the world, and it's just whoever gets the highest wins for for that round or whatever. So
I'm gonna ask.
Mode. I remember that, and that was a kind of a fun mode where it would string together a couple songs and kind of ramp up the intensity and give you kind of like an estimated calories burned, things like that.
I'm sorry, what was the mode called? I didn't hear you.
An exercise mode.
Oh, I think they call it just sweat mode now. I think that's what that one's called now. I think I remember seeing, like, just reading the description about how it has a bunch of songs in there. There is another exercise mode though that I think I've actually seen in there also, where I think it's just, I don't know if they just like have different routines where you can just pick songs or whatever. But I know those are 2 separate modes though, so not totally sure. Swiss, I'm sorry.
I was gonna say I have a really dumb question.
Yeah.
Having never played any of the Just Dance games before, how does how did the control work? Like, what is it just really you swinging the Joy-Con around and it counts, or like how do they handle it?
Well, I mean, I have played Dance Central back on the Xbox with the Kinect, so it's not as precise as that one, because actually that one tracked your whole body, so you had to move your legs, you had to move your upper body. This one, yeah, you could pretty much just do just like the the arm movements during the dance. And if you want to just stand there, kind of, you still have to do the move. Like it does track that more or less, but it doesn't track like if you have to like move to the right or move to the left. I mean, I don't think so. Not that I've actually noticed. I don't think it really tracks that. It's more of just kind of like the swinging motion. So it's not super precise like Dance Central was.
Yeah, I think the last thing I did was I had I bought some like premium like thick DDR Dance Dance Revolution mats for like back in the PS2.
Yeah.
But of course, like the mats wear out, and then
Yeah.
They might still be like in my mom's attic, to be honest.
Yeah, but no, it's been a lot of fun though. Just doing something with the family and something different instead of
it is cool.
Halo or something.
No, it's fun to
or quiz games.
Fun to hear you talk about that, because we played that as a family, and then my sister, who has her younger kids, elementary school and kindergarten, they purchased a Switch as well, and they have Just Dance now. And so I was telling them about how we would play it with my mom and play Just Dance, and so her kids were all excited about playing it with their grandma. So yeah, it's one of those where it's a multi-generational, like, yeah, everybody can kind of waggle a little bit and it'll be okay.
Yeah.
Man, I keep looking at these games and I'm like, that's kind of an odd choice. And then I hear you guys talk about it and it's like, maybe I'll.
It's a good family one.
Yeah,
it's definitely a good one. And they have like a kids section where it's, they do the dance, but it isn't really, it's not super precise, like even for this game. So, it's kind of just, they can flail around and that's fine. So like, there's like no points or anything, or you can just do the regular mode too. So it's cool. And there's different, there's easy, medium, and hard dances. So I've only been up to medium so far. So.
And it was on sale, or it's just $20 normally?
Yeah, it was on sale. I think there was a Ubisoft. I don't know if it's still going on or not. But yeah, it was $20. And then they have a month free, because they have like an unlimited mode, where you get like whatever music they have on there is like, there's like hundreds of songs basically. I think there's like 200 or 300 songs that you can get. Normally you'd have to pay for it, but it's like a month free right now. So it's pretty nice. And then I also bought like, I think a 3-month one, which was like, I think like $5 or $6 or something. It was super cheap though. So I got like 3 or 4 months of the unlimited mode. Otherwise you get like maybe like 8 to 10 songs, maybe like in each difficulty.
Yeah, it sounds about right. Like maybe there were 18, 20 some songs on a disc back in the day, and their online mode is kind of cool, because this game has been out 10, 12 years now, I think, so they can just kind of, it wouldn't take much to kind of remap all those songs to different controls, but because of the way that they filmed all of those, it's just kind of motion capture, so it's not real graphic intensive, that they can kind of mine all those older songs, which is cool. So it's a fun thing.
You can make you can make your own playlists, and then there's like playlists that they throw out there or other people have made, so it's kind of cool. Like they'll do like past Dance Central, playlists, like I don't know, 2016 or whatever, and you got to do that, and you earn points or like coins or whatever, but it just unlocks like avatars and like titles and stuff like that, which is kind of cool, and it kind of gamifies it a little bit too, a little bit more. So
all right, I guess I'll do the next game. We'll start with I've been playing some Destiny 2, which is a big surprise because I'm on the 2KG network, right? But my wife Bella and I, we've been playing quite a bit of it the last couple of weeks. Initially, we were doing the season of the Worthy, I think is the current season 10 or something. And the last week we've really hit Gambit hard. And the other night we got together with DBQ, so DBQ Hams, and he was on, and so we kind of forced our way into his fire team.
No, not forced at all, right? I was on to try to figure out the Guardian Games grind fest that is all those bounties, and so I was very glad when you popped on to give me something else to play. So it was fun.
So you had a double picks plays then. So you played with DB too.
Yep.
You made up for mine.
it kind of brings me. We were actually talking a little bit about this while we were playing, and then it brings it up. So when my wife and I were playing the season, they have the little story aspect that prompts it, which is okay. It's kind of cool, I guess, but it was very much of a grind. And I remember mentioning to DV, it's like I'm not even sure how to really progress because like you have to do stuff to unlock some other things, then go talk to somebody to pay with whatever new currency they have to buy this other thing, and then you get these other chips, and then you use these other chips to upgrade something else, and when that maxes out, then you upgrade. It's like it's kind of like confusing. It's super confusing, and it's kind of needlessly complicated, I think.
Yeah, I think this new season really does do that, right? You've got the towers, the war mine bunkers, and you need to grind specific war mine bits to unlock certain things within the tower to then go to the next planet that has one. But there's even more so. Destiny's always had currencies within currencies, but they really feel like they're leaning into it within this one. And I can appreciate where you're feeling lost in that, because even after trying it and reading about it, I still feel like it is difficult to grasp.
So, can I ask a question here? Because it's been a while since I played Destiny, and I never played or Destiny 2, and I never played through the whole story mode, as it were. Like when they do these DLCs or these updates, does it add to the story, like the overall story, or are these just like separate campaigns that have nothing to do like with the main? Or DB, I don't know. You have a face there.
I'd say it adds to the story. I mean, okay.
I mean, I know it's going to add to the story, but is it like...
If you say add to the story, do you mean it adds like really interesting narrative to the story, or do you mean like it feels like an ongoing world? So each season does have a little bit where it's like, okay, that the previous seasons happen in the past timeline of where you're at.
Okay,
so
yeah, I think I mean, like the last season, it brought back. Last season was more lore, where it brought back a character from, prior to Destiny 1 with Saint 14. It kind of sucked him out of the timeline and time stream. But this season actually tries to have a story, right? Like if you finish the Destiny 2 campaign, where
the very first campaign,
way back with the Red War and the Cabal, and they had that big kind of sun eating ship, and now that ship is on a crash course for Earth. So that's kind of cool. Like,
well, it's not only that they take that, and then they take one of the second DLC was Warmind, right? So they're they integrate that story along too to save you from the ship. So like they're referring back to events that happened in the past in the timeline.
And then if you really want to get a little deeper, is in the bunker, there is a countdown going on, like that has a solar system map, and you see some of the triangle ships, which we assume are the darkness from the end of the Destiny 2 campaign, that you see kind of the post-credit scene that show them approaching Earth, or at least approaching the solar system. So they're doing all of that, but at the same time they're there's no momentum for it, because it's not like these are not things that are going to be resolved within this season. So it is just kind of, you're doing all of this in an effort to kind of ramp up the war mine to hopefully shoot the ship down maybe at the end, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, getting into like some story stuff, like the original campaign felt like a story, and I know that at the time we were much more interested in playing campaign missions and adventures and everything, and getting the world building. And then with Shadowkeep, that was at least a character centric story as well. But you could start to see the grindy aspects of what they're making you do. And now these last few seasons have felt a little bit worse. Each iteration has become more grindy. But the last thing that DB mentioned when he was on was they have this little event going on right now, the Guardian games, which I find odd, the timing. I would have expected it to have been back in
like a Summer Olympics type of thing.
yeah, I would have
It
expected
feels
it
like
to
it
have
should
been back
be
there.
timed with that rather than in the middle of, it feels like, to some reason, it feels like filler. Like there's a giant ship crashing toward the Earth, but and they even acknowledge it
Yeah,
in
I was about to
the
say that
lore.
they put it on there. Hold on one sec, guys.
Sure.
You jump onto Dreams in Super Mario Maker 2.
Okay.
How do you compare those?
so yeah, I mean, this is Super Prime. Have you played Super Mario Maker 2?
Yeah.
The okay, and yesterday the final update, quote unquote final update, came out with now the world makers, and in Mario 1 you can get a mushroom that gives you the physics of Mario 2 so that you can ride on top of stuff. You can get the frog suit in Mario 3. You can get the balloon power up in World, and the kind of acorn squirrel suit in New Super Mario Brothers. But so I put these together with Dreams and Super Mario Maker because they end up being kind of really fun. I don't know, they're almost like a platform within a game, right? Like it is in Dreams even more so but in both cases, like, they're great quarantine games because there's so much there. Like I can, getting on Super Mario Maker last night, there wasn't a whole lot that people had done with the new game, with the new power suits and things like that. But now this morning, firing it up, there's a ton of options within just the stuff that released last night. And then in Dreams, Dreams has been out for 2 months now at this point, and the last time my sons and I played was probably a month ago, and now there's all kinds of really interesting creative stuff and some really wacky, crazy, weird, hilarious stuff as well. But again, it's one of those where it's kind of fun to just kind of browse and pop in and out and sample things. And so it ends up being, Dreams ends up being like the Wikipedia rabbit hole of video games, right? Like you can put in a search term and just find a ton of stuff. Or there are a ton of bad Sonic, or we ended up down like a Family Guy rabbit hole last night of all kinds of different modes and games, and some have really terrible physics, and some have some really great stuff. There's a pretty cool Spider-Man game. There's some really interesting little mini movies. My son's like queued up a playlist for me where there was like one of them was this Seinfeld like game that also mashes in some horror and some PT, and the Chucky dolls jump out every once in a while, and then there's a little bit of the Upside Down from Stranger Things. It is just this crazy mashup, but at the same time, it's kind of a fun experience, like sitting down on a couch together and just kind of sharing the experience.
So you're speaking a lot to being a consumer of Dreams. What about as far as the creator aspect?
Yeah, no, yeah, nope. Maybe Mario Maker, I can be a little creator in. My sons have very much been creators in Mario Maker. Dreams, I have just not invested the time to put that together. I mean, it's an incredibly powerful tool. I really hope that now that we've seen the Dual Sense controller for the PlayStation 5 that has a create button, I would love to see Dreams being incorporated within PlayStation 5, because there's a ton of stuff there, and it's the variety that people can make, the physics, the game modes. It's really impressive. I wish I had the time to invest to become a even partially proficient dreams creator, but I just haven't had that time. So
A dreamer.
have a
We call him a dreamer.
yes, a dreamer. There you go. You
I
could say
have
that,
a
but I'm not the only one.
I have like a kind of a PC Master Race question for you. Uh, is you mentioned like the create button for like integration and whatnot, but I mean, I can't imagine trying to do like game creation with a PlayStation 4 controller. I just like keyboard and mouse. Like I don't understand. It seems like it would be an a strong inhibitor.
Yeah, it's even more of a strong inhibitor when you factor in that a lot of it is designed around motion controls. So whether you're using the move controllers, which actually the move controllers work pretty well, it's when you're taking a DualShock 4 and just having it track the light sensor bar is where it becomes kind of just, it's like using an oven mitt to try to move your mouse around. It just, you've lost all sense of fidelity.
I like that. But like compared to Super Mario Maker 2, I guess given that Super Mario Maker 2 is like they're 2D, I feel like it's probably much more of a simpler creation ability.
Yes, I mean, right, that it's a much more limited scope. The physics are a whole lot more defined within Mario Maker, intentionally on purpose, right? Your sandbox is a whole lot smaller. You're given a lot of tools that you kind of know how they're supposed to play, but dreams you can really, you can create those physics. You can change uh, the rules and the code within there to make it anything you really want to be. It's that's where the kind of surfing through dreams is is really impressive, because to see how people have tweaked, and sometimes it is simply just people lifting assets and dropping them in, but sometimes you get things that are just amazingly creative and surprising, that somebody was able to take that engine and tweak it in such a way to create a new experience.
Very cool. I think we're like 3 minutes from our 60-minute mark. So for what initially there was some chatter before the show that this would have been a light episode.
As usual.
Yeah, I think we got it. I think this was a pretty good discussion.
Can I ask a quick
different
question
games.
actually for about the dreams? So you mentioned like you saw like a Spider-Man game or Spider-Man like game, like Family Guy and stuff like that. Now those kind of IPs, do the people that made those games, do they try to like is it like a 1-to-1 copy of Spider-Man Family Guy, or they try to like just make it different enough that they're not going to get taken down or anything like that?
No, there's plenty of Marios in there.
Okay.
And Nintendo has released some cease and desist statements
Yeah, I've seen.
for some of the Marios. But there's one of them in there that we played last night that was like almost like a Super Mario Land, like the 3DS version.
Mhm.
But and sometimes they're pretty good, and sometimes they're pretty janky. But yeah, I think there is not a lot of IP control at all. And those are interesting and kind of fun, but they're the really interesting stuff is when somebody just uses their imagination, right? Like when it's not a created or established IP, that they've created a character or have defined this dreamscape. Like, it's impressive when you know that it's supposed to be SpongeBob that you're looking at, but it's even more impressive, when it's this wholly unique character and creation and things like that. So no, yeah, copyright law, yeah, nah, not so much.
All right, so maybe we'll have some more Law and Order dreams discussion on the next deep dive. If we can cull some of those stories and include them. Next picks plays. So we're I think this is springboarded from the recent news that Death Stranding has been delayed. I think it's only been delayed a month or two. However, it's the delay for the PC version of the game. So our Picks Plays assignment is to play a port. Our little synopsis: games are ported back and forth all the time, from PC to console, console to PC. Dialogue around porting has changed over the last few years, and it used to be weaponized as a derogatory comment, but now it's much more natural, assumed, and organic. And I know we've talked about that with our PlayStation versus Xbox, because a lot of the games that used to be in one camp are now on both. So in the wake of the Death Stranding springboard, play a game that also has a port. And the hope is maybe some of us C2KG members have the game on a different platform, and we can compare, or we can compare on if we have access to the same game on multiple platforms, we should try that out. So DB actually already has a tentative selection, or is that going to be a very firm selection?
Well, I think it's one where I feel like the port aspect of the assignment plays out. I'm trying to speak to the Agasicles spirit of the assignment, and I was looking at Master Chief Collection as the beta for Halo 2 on PC for Master Chief Collection is out, and that Halo 1 and Reach are out on PC, but going back and comparing some of the mouse keyboard ports for the Master Chief Collection to the very polished 4K aspects of the Xbox One X Master Chief Collection as well.
Very nice. Looks like me and Prime are still going to have to think about this.
I actually do have one in mind.
Oh, really?
Yes. So that would be Skyrim. So I could play that on the Xbox, and then I also have it on the Switch. Compare those two.
Oh, maybe I'll have to get it back and play some Skyrim on PSVR as a comparison as well then.
Yeah.
When was the last time you played that, Prime?
Probably at least a year ago. Okay. It would have been on the Switch side.
Yep. All right.
So we'll
nice
see.
Excuse to get back into it.
That's right.
All right. I think that'll do it for tonight's episode. Next week, I'm not sure who's on. We have a deep dive on next Thursday, so the show will probably be posted. This show should be posted. Well, if you're listening to it, it's already been posted.
So, that's the safest prediction that you've ever made.
I think so. I think I'm gonna stop now because
it's you, Agasicles, and myself for next week's show.
Okay.
With Agasicles as a host.
Awesome. So join us for the deep dive. I will say that in the middle of this show, if you notice, if you've been watching us on YouTube and like DB and my eyes kept like getting away from Prime and it looked like we were very distracted, it's because I think Agasicles was in the background just like throwing news stories at our news channel throughout. So we probably have a lot to go through, and I feel like news has been picking up the last few weeks, so we've had some fun discussions. So please join us next week for the deep dive. Until then, this has been Enough to Keep Going. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and keep playing. Keep enjoying your games. Bye.